Welcome back to UK Homicide. This case is different from those we usually cover. The Mary and Gracie Attard case, which unfolded in 2000, remains one of the most ethically complicated and challenging cases in medical history. It involved significant legal, ethical, and moral considerations surrounding parental rights, medical intervention, and the sanctity of life. So how did we get here, and how did it end? Mary and Gracie Attard, born in Manchester on the 8th August 2000, were conjoined twins. Their parents were brought to the UK from Malta 3 months before their birth. The sisters were joined at the lower abdomen but could lie flat on their backs. Their spines were fused and each had both legs, sharing vital organs including the heart and lungs. This type of conjoinment is rare and presents unique survival and medical intervention challenges. Gracie was relatively healthy, with a functional heart and lungs. Doctors believed that she had the potential for survival if separated from Mary, as her heart was strong enough to sustain her independently after the surgery. Mary, on the other hand, was severely brain damaged and her heart function was critically compromised. Her medical team concluded that if the twins were left conjoined, Mary would not survive long-term because of her heart failure and the severity of her brain injury. Her death, estimated at 6 months, would result in the death of her sister. The primary dilemma for the medical team was that separating the twins would save Gracie's life, but would almost certainly result in Mary's death. So, is it justifiable to take a life to save a life? Would it be permissible to sever and thus kill in a palliative, sympathetic manner the weaker twin to save the stronger one? The parents said all life, even that of a severely compromised child like Mary, had an inherent value. They viewed separating the twins as a form of euthanasia, which they could not morally accept, believing that the decision should be left to God. So where do parental rights come in? The Attards said the decision was theirs, not the courts or the state. When they learned it was impossible to save both their girls, they asked for treatment to be stopped. They told the court, "We could not possibly agree to any surgery being undertaken that will kill one of our daughters." They opposed the idea of separating their daughters, believing it would be morally wrong to intentionally end Mary's life, and that no human being, including a parent, has the right to make a decision that results in the deliberate ending of life, no matter the circumstances. However, under English law, parents' wishes do not take precedence. Despite their objections, the medical team said that without separation, both twins would die. The team presented the separation as a life-saving procedure that would give Gracie a chance to live a whole life, even at the expense of Mary. The case was brought before the UK High Court and Court of Appeal after the medical team asked for the parents to be overruled. The initial High Court case, and Mr. Justice Johnson, didn't have the luxury of a legal precedent. He had to rely primarily on a UK ruling that it was acceptable to remove life support. He ruled that separating the twins would not be murder but a case of, quote, passive euthanasia and comparable to withdrawing food and hydration. The court did recognize the parents' moral and religious objections. Still, it focused on Gracie's right to life. The Attard parents appealed this decision, saying their religious beliefs and parental rights should outweigh those of the medical team. They argued that their daughters' lives were treated as a moral dilemma without regard for their rights and opinions. The Court of Appeal upheld the High Court's decision, finding that Gracie's right to life outweighed the parents' objections. The 3 appellate judges all gave contrasting legal reasoning. Lord Justice Ward invoked the concept of self-defense, suggesting that if Gracie could speak, she would protest and say, "Stop it, Mary, you're killing me." Lord Justice Brooke used the defense of necessity. Finally, Lord Justice Robert Walker focused on the moral intention of the surgeons. The 20-hour separation surgery took place on 6 November 2000 at St. Mary's Hospital in Manchester. This complex and dangerous operation involved a huge surgical team, including pediatric surgeons, neurosurgeons, cardiologists, and anesthetists. The surgery involved separating them at their chest and abdomen and ensuring Grace's organs were preserved to enable her to survive independently. During surgery, Mary's health deteriorated, and despite the team's best efforts, Mary died shortly after, due to cardiac and respiratory failure. Gracie, on the other hand, survived the surgery. She was eventually stabilized and returned to her family in Gozo, Malta. Gracie's parents, although devastated by Mary's death, were grateful that Gracie survived and began to adjust to life without her sister. She had no significant developmental issues and was able to attend school. As she grew up, she became aware of her unique medical history and at age 14 expressed a strong desire to pursue a medical career. She attributed her own survival to the doctors and surgeons who worked to save her life and wanted to give back by becoming a doctor herself. Ethical and legal implications. The Mary and Gracie Attard case raised many questions about medical ethics, parental rights, and the role of the courts in making decisions about life-saving interventions without a parent's consent. Whose ethics should be sacrificed when a life is lost to save another? The parents' moral and religious objections were in direct conflict with the medical team's assessment. This case also highlighted the court's role in protecting children's best interests when parents are unwilling or unable to make medical decisions for them. In addition, it sets an important legal precedent for handling cases involving conjoined twins and medical procedures where one twin's death is inevitable to save the other. Unsurprisingly, this case is now a landmark in medical ethics and law, and it is frequently cited in discussions of consent, sanctity of life, moral dilemmas, and parental rights versus child welfare. Amongst the many questions debated were: is it right to kill one child to save another? Is Mary alive in a meaningful autonomous sense? Does do no harm apply if an action guarantees both children will die? Who has the final right to decide when all outcomes would involve loss? The Mary and Gracie Attard case is a landmark bioethics and medical law case. The medical intervention that allowed Gracie to survive while causing Mary's death raised difficult ethical, parental, and legal questions and divided the nation. Gracie's eventual recovery and subsequent life as a healthy individual highlight the incredible advances in medical technology and surgery. Still, it remains a poignant reminder of the complexity of life and death decisions and the ability to end a life to save a life. What do you think would have been the right decision? Many thanks for listening.